Hey guys, and welcome to Petrol Ped, and welcome to the first time both of my Minis have been on the channel together. I think you'll agree, they look great, don't they? Now, I wanted to start this film by just saying a couple of things. Clearly, the whole world is in the grips of this awful COVID-19 epidemic, and I am doing my very best to still create content for you but stay within the guidelines being issued by the government. So lots of social distancing, nobody around, and I'm using my own car. I'm going to take it for a drive a little bit later, but I'm literally going to go up the road and back. But I need to try and maintain as much normality as possible. Clearly lots of you are at home self-isolating and need something to do, which could be watching one of my videos, but also my main business, which is training. Well, that ain't looking good for the foreseeable future, and we finished filming the TV show on Friday. So basically YouTube is my source of income for the moment, so I need to keep creating content. So I do have a bit of a content plan to basically do quite a lot of stuff around the new Clubman and anything else I can get my hands on or get access to. So you will need to bear with me. I've got a few films in the can as well, but hopefully we'll still be able to make awesome content together, and everything's going to be okay in the long run. Keep calm and carry on and all that. Now, I brought both cars out into the sunshine. It is a beautiful day. They've both been washed and they're all lovely, clean and shiny. And I thought the first thing we'd do is take a walk around the Clubman and just have a bit of a chat about it. Clearly on the reveal video I talked about the basic spec, but what I want to do in this video is first of all give you some ideas about some of the things I want to do to the car in terms of simple customization and modifications, and then we're also going to take it for the first drive and give you my driving's impressions of it. Now clearly I had a Clubman JCW for 3 months from Mini UK, so it doesn't drive really that much differently apart from one thing which I'm not very happy about, but we will get onto that very shortly. So let's take a wander over here, we'll talk around the spec and talk about some of the ideas I've got, and also the car has a name. Oh yes people, we have christened. Not only have we got Ruby, no longer is she called Ruby 2, but I'll come on to that shortly too. Come on, head over here. Okay, so front end profile I love. Now, color wise, white silver with chili red roof, mirror caps and stripes. And one of the things I found out so far, now I have done about 1,000 miles in the car already, and the great thing about this color is not only does it look mega when it's clean, and it's really easy to clean and you don't see smears and stuff, which is brilliant, that coming from someone who's had a black car for a long time, but even when she's dirty, actually she doesn't really look that dirty. So I'm delighted with the color choice, and I think, you know, when you approach the car having parked up, I just think she looks fantastic. Now, in terms of things I'd like to do, the first thing I really wanted to do, and I actually asked Mini for this when I bought the car, was I would love a set of front driving lamps. Clearly on Ruby we've got these front driving lamps, but on the Series 2 Minis they were a fairly standard thing. Sadly, on the latest Clubman, Mini don't actually do mini driving lamps. So either I put that idea to one side, or I researched some other way of having some driving lamps on the front. For me, I think a Mini just looks even better with driving lamps at the front. But apart from that, I'm really in love with the whole kind of front end profile. That splitter looks really great. The headlamps are very, very effective. So I'm really, really pleased with that, that's for sure. Now, in terms of what I want to do, the first thing I want to do, let's kind of have a chat round this side, I think. Now then, I reckon the first job I'm going to do is a tiny bit of de-chroming. Now interestingly, the surrounds to the headlamps have been de-chromed. The rear tail lights have got a smoky glass filter on them, so they've gone halfway there. And even with the new GP3, it's fully de-chromed apart from the belt line. And I just don't understand why it's still got a kind of chrome belt line. So the very first thing I'm going to do, hopefully coming very soon, is I'm going to do a de-chrome of the belt line, and I'm going to do it myself. That could go one of two ways. But then also, while we're on the de-chroming, I want to look into trying to de-chrome these door handles. You can actually get a black door handle, and the same on the rear tailgate. So a de-chrome is definitely the first thing I want to do, because I think that will just set the car off. Everything else is black. The roof rails, I've got privacy glass, I've got black surrounds. I just think that would finish it off really, really nicely. In terms of wheels now, this might be a longer term project. But I love these wheels. When I was looking for a car, I very nearly just bought the car with the standard black wheels that I had on the long-termer, because the long-term view for me is to put new wheels on, to uprate the wheels. One of the things I love so much about Ruby Roadster is the Team Dynamics wheels. Now, I'm not suggesting I put Team Dynamics on this. I'd go for something probably a little bit more premium. But I think sometime in the future I will change the wheels. This whole coronavirus thing isn't great in terms of predictability of income and money, so some of these projects may well have to happen a bit later on in the year when everything's blown over. For now, I love these wheels. They are beautiful. They are a proper curb risk, however. As you'd imagine, it's a new car, so they're perfect. They are mint. There's not a scratch on them, but I am super careful about them. But I do think the difference between these and the wheels I had on my long-term, it just make the car look so much better. So yes, in the short to medium term, probably not going to do anything with the wheels. However, medium to long term, definitely want to look into something slightly different. And I'll check the wheel tyre pressure monitoring system as well this time. I'm going to be caught out by that once, I tell you. It wasn't good. Round the back, I think the dechroming work will continue. Obviously the belt line goes all the way around the car, but I'm going to look into changing these rear door handles into black ones. And then this is where I potentially need a bit of help from you guys. Now then, in the comments please. So on the back of the Clubman you have the words Clubman. Now I have two choices here. Number one, I'd really like to put those in black lettering rather than chrome lettering to match the rest of the dechrome work. But I have a slight OCD problem with this, because Clubman has an odd number of letters in it. So there are 4 letters on this side and 3 letters on that door, and I can't, once you've seen it, you can't unsee it. So the question or the feedback I'd really like is, do I just black out the letters and keep them the same, or do I just debadge it and get rid of the Clubman writing altogether? I'm in two minds. I'm very tempted just to get rid of them altogether, to be honest. Now then, on the inside, much of this is the same as the long-termer I had. The big difference really, and if I just turn the car on, oh, it's great, is I've got this larger widescreen sat-nav, which I didn't have in the other car, and it's brilliant because it's already wirelessly linked to my phone. I've got wireless Apple CarPlay and I use that a lot, and it's very good. The thing that I moaned about in my final video about the Clubman was the fact that there was no wireless charging option, but have no fear, I have it now. So in here is a cradle that I can put my phone. It's brilliant. However, and I'd love to know if anyone else has got this, when I put my phone in there, it does get really hot. And when I say really hot, I mean, if it's in there for more than about 2 hours, the iPhone actually goes into its too hot temperature setting and turns itself off. That's happened to me twice now. Now, either I've got a problem with my iPhone or it's just a design flaw, but I'd love to know what if anyone else has had that problem. Everything else in here is lovely. The pan roof makes all the difference in this car in terms of just light and airy, but everything else I am delighted with. It is a beautiful place to be. It's a lovely interior. It's got all the technology I want. I love the head-up display. One of my big problems about GP3 was you couldn't spec a head-up display, and I really, once you've had that in a Mini, it's very difficult to live without it. But it just feels very premium in here. So I reckon we get some cameras set up and have a quick spin up the road and just talk very briefly about driving this car. As I said, I've done just over 1,000 miles. Well, I've done not 1,000 miles. Mrs. Petrol Pet has used the car quite a lot. But yeah, we'll go for a little bit of a drive. See, when you're out and about driving, that noise puts a big smile on your face. So how is this car to drive? Well, look, Victor Kayam many years ago was on a TV advert, and his strapline was he used a Razor and he loved the Razor so much he bought the company. Well, I love my press car so much I bought the car, and that says everything you need to know about how I feel about this car. You know, you don't do 6,000 miles in a car and then go and buy one if you didn't like it. And I'm pretty sure you guys all know how much I love that car. Why do I love it? Well, first things first, it's a really comfy place to do lots of miles, and for me, in my job and the kind of mileage I do, I'm very lucky to get lots and lots of press cars and do mileage in them while I'm making content, but every now and again I have to do it in my own car as well. So that's a really important part of what my car needs to be able to deliver, is being able to do good miles. And this car does that. So that's what I enjoy. But it's the performance this car has. It's got 300 horsepower, 306 horsepower, 450 Newton meters. That is ample horsepower to make this car go incredibly quickly. Way more quickly than the law permits. So it's super quick, but it's not so quick that it's ridiculous. I mean, almost my S4 is just that little bit faster and that little bit more ridiculous, and anything faster than that, honestly, on the public road, any more than 350 horsepower, really, you just don't need it. It's a nice boast down the pub with your mates, but you really don't need it. The performance it has is just sensational, and with it having the four-wheel drive system as well, you can have that performance in any weather. I mean, we're in a beautiful, lovely, dry day today, but I've driven this car in some pretty grotty weather, and it really holds up. It's excellent, and that's what I love so much about this car. And if I think about this car compared with a GP3, the GP3 had the same engine and gearbox but was front wheel drive, and I think putting that down in all conditions would be tricky. On a dry track, I'm sure it would be ballistic and lighter and more nimble and probably quicker than this, but in everyday usage this car wins every day for me over a GP3. In terms of usable, comfortable, practical, this car wins every day for me over GP3. And a few people have asked me, do I regret not going for the GP3 and going for this? And the simple answer to that is no, absolutely not. There's not an ounce of regret in me buying this car. It's well within my budget. In fact, it's £7,000 cheaper than the GP, and it just fulfills everything I want from a car. It's just brilliant, and I love it. I love it to bits. I've never been so pleased with a car straight off the bat before. I just think it's an exceptionally good car. Now then, I did say earlier on in the video that there was something about this car that I don't really like very much when you're driving it, and it's the tyres. Because unlike the press car, which had Michelin tyres, this thing has Continental run flats, and they are horrible. They totally change the feel of the car. When you're, especially, look, we're going to come up to one of my little favourite corners here. I'm going to plonk it in sport box. I'm going to drop it down a couple of gears. So we're in third. As we come up to the corner, I'll put into second, and then we'll accelerate hard out here. And firstly, it sounds great, but it just, the front of the car just ends up being quite light, and when you're putting steering angle on and trying to pull out of a corner, it just unbalances and unsettles the car, and it just doesn't have the traction that the long-termer had, and that is purely down to the tyres. So whether or not I change the wheels, I will be changing the tyres, and I'll be doing it as soon as I can as well. You know, put a nice set of Pilot Sport 4 Michelins on this, like I've got in Ruby, like the long-termer had, and it will fundamentally change the car, and the ride comfort will be better as well, because the ride comfort in this, you know, the run flats aren't the best at comfort, are they? Now clearly this wouldn't be a first drive video if we didn't have a little bit of fun. So the car's in sport, I'm in manual box, so lovely bit of road, lovely sunny day. The manual gear change is super slick, and I just love the feel of the car when you just increase the pace a little bit. As I said, these tyres aren't ideal, they're just that little bit I don't know, they're just not tacky enough. They don't give me the feel I want through my hand, through the steering. It's just not as good as it could be. That said, this car has that mini go-kart feel, that kind of urgency about it. The way it just dances on the road, it's just a proper smile generator. Let's have a bit of fun up my favourite little hill climb. It does sound good, this motor though. It's just got so much traction. I drove down this road the other day coming back from a shoot, and it was dark and it was empty, unlike having a car slow me down, and it just put a massive smile on my face, and this car does that every time I drive it. And that's what you want from a car, isn't it? So there you go. That's my first drive impressions of the car. I'd love to know what you think. Any ideas about modifications or customizing the car in any way, just to kind of build some content. And you know, I've got a big Mini following clearly, but I'd like to try and just make the car just that little bit more my own. But the one thing I want to end with is her new name. So after lots of deliberation, some fantastic suggestions from you guys, we've come up with Charlie, the female Charlie. Two reasons. Charlie, call sign Charlie. I am a massive Top Gun fan, and I wanted a name that began with a C because of Clubman. So Charlie, as in Maverick's girlfriend in Top Gun. Call sign Charlie.
You'll also be trained and evaluated by a few civilian specialists. The civilians are here because they are our very best source of information on enemy aircraft. One of the most qualified is our tag rep, call sign Charlie. She has a PhD in astrophysics, and she's also a civilian contractor, so you do not salute her. But you better listen to her because the Pentagon listens to her about your proficiency. It's all yours, Charlie.
Thank you. Hello?
And also ties in, I guess, a little bit with Charlie Croker from the Italian Job. But yes, her new name is Charlie Clubman. Love to know what you think of that too. But anyway, on that bombshell, I will leave you guys. I hope you've enjoyed this one. If you have done so, please give me a thumbs up. Comments below are always welcome, and if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to Petrol for plenty more content to come. Stay safe, people. I know these are troubling times, very worrying, but if we all follow the advice we're being given, we'll get through it eventually. But I hope to still keep creating some content for you to watch. You take care, guys. Drive safe.